Hi there, it's Sherry with another Naked Truth video for you today. It's Sunday, and I think it's an appropriate day to speak about depression. Depression, it's not in the head. We feel it in the body. It hurts. It's a deep ache inside. And most of the time, it's not event-driven. Most of the time, it's cumulative. We've carried this around for a very long time, since we were really, really little. At least that was the case for me when I wanted to kill myself at 20 years of age. So I know about depression. I know about acute depression. I know about clinical depression because I've lived it. I've had it. And I was fortunate enough to land in the office of a really good psychiatrist years ago. And he knew how to balance my brain chemistry with medication and ask me the right questions. And that sort of formed the basis of my journey into asking myself the right questions and trying to resolve long-standing issues that I had, getting to the root of that pain. So if you've watched my video on healing your pain from the outside in, that can be very, very, very helpful to you with your depression. But I tell you, I've worked a long, long time, many, many years, at dismantling mine and growing and healing and thriving and getting well, because I never ever wanted to feel that kind of depression again. It isn't that I haven't had some depression along the way over the past 40 some odd years. It's that it hasn't knocked me out of my orbit like it did when I was 20. So depression is a natural, normal human feeling. We have to have it. It has to be available to us to feel, because in the event of extreme loss, heartbreaking loss, we're going to feel depression. So if a beloved friend of ours dies, or a beloved pet of ours dies, because, well, animals don't live as long as humans do, we're going to feel depressed, and we're going to feel depressed for some time. It could be weeks, it could be months in the aftermath of that loss, that we feel our depression profoundly in our body. It's heartbreaking. We feel it in our heart. We feel it in our core. We feel it in our solar plexus. It's just all pervasive. And it drags down our energy, and it makes us feel listless and inert. And it's kind of a really all-pervading sort of feeling. Let's not crucify ourselves for that. Let's not shame ourselves for feeling depressed. We always have good reason to feel depressed. But as I speak to you about in my Healing Your Depression and Healing Your Pain from the Outside In, we don't want to name that depression. We don't want to attach meaning and reasons to that depression. We just want to feel it in the body and self-soothe and reparent ourselves and lighten it a bit and understand that it can't kill us. Sometimes we wish it would kill us because we're in so much frigging pain that we can't stand it, but it can't kill us. So learning to trust that it can't kill us is excuse me, I had an itch, is really important. Okay, so I first learned about real depression when I was 20, as I said. I was in so much pain, I just wanted out of the pain. I wanted to end the pain. And the only way I could see at the time to end that pain was to do away with myself. The issue here, though, is that I wasn't a whole self. I'd lived with two people, my father and his new bride, for 6.5 years during my adolescence, and they wanted me to be the perfect daughter. They needed me to be responsive to their feelings and needs and accommodate what was convenient for them. So in order to fit in and feel a part of a family unit, maybe for the first time in many, many, many years, since I was tiny, I did whatever I could to accommodate their wishes. And I lost big chunks of myself along the way doing it. So when I wanted to kill myself, it was that I was only left with half a self. So if I wasn't feeling light and bright and cheerful, and my mood and affect wasn't positive, I felt ashamed. And I felt that I didn't have a right to live. Now, I've worked very hard to alleviate and eliminate that depression over the course of many, many years, but I'm hoping to give you a shortcut here today. Suicidal depression. Well, I ended up somewhere in my 20s, probably mid to late 20s, volunteering my time on a suicide hotline. I became a certified suicide hotline counselor. And I learned a little bit more about suicide and suicidal depression at that time. I learned that virtually all the people that were calling just felt so isolated and alone. They needed somebody to talk to, some live human person to talk to about their pain. I was taught how to assess for suicidality. In other words, do you have a plan in place? Do you have a stockpile of pills in a bag somewhere in your house that you plan to take yourself out with? Are you planning to drive your car off a cliff? Do you think a lot about hanging yourself or drowning yourself? So it's important always to assess for suicidality and suicidal intention when you're talking to a person who's that depressed. This is clinical depression. It hurts in the body. But I also want to let you know that most of the people who threaten suicide or who talk about killing themselves almost never follow through. Honest to God, this is true. So if your girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or husband is saying, if you leave me, I'll kill myself, there's a slim chance. I'm not saying it never happens, but there's a really slim chance they're going to follow through with that threat. If you don't come back to me, I'll kill myself. Again, those who talk about it, those who threaten it, almost never follow through. It's not that they're in pain, but these are people who have been in pain their entire life. You didn't cause that pain. That's been there since way before you came along. And it's important for you to understand this. So any little tiny trigger, any abandonment trigger is going to have them acting out and threatening these things. And it's emotional blackmail. It's emotional manipulation of you. But if you step back for a moment, take yourself out of the subjective concern about that, and you think to yourself, boy, if I was really depressed with the possibility of someone leaving me, would I want to blackmail them into staying? I mean, would I want to manipulate them this way? I mean, if they didn't really want to be with me anymore, how could I feel good about hanging on to them or keeping them if it was under this kind of threat and duress that the only way they could keep me from doing away with myself was to stick around against their will? None of us wants that. Not really. I've, over the course of years, I've had my consulting business. A lot of really, really depressed people have come my way. And this started when I was an intern 25 years ago in private practice in Beverly Hills. And I did a full 6-year internship. I handed in my hours. I started my state board testing process. I'd taken both state board exams. But my life took a turn back in 2007, and so my business took a turn, my practice took a turn, and I decided to work differently with clients. And I've been doing that ever since. So for the past 18 years or so, that's what I've been doing. It's not psychotherapy I've been doing. Because I always felt like there were more effective and quicker ways of helping people heal. So I gave my full attention and focus to that and that alone. As an intern, suicidally depressed people were walking in my door. I don't know how they found me, honest to God. I have no idea how they got to me. Some were referred, I think, by friends of mine. And others just, I don't know. They somehow found me. I wasn't advertising. These were not clients my supervisor gave me. But these were clinically suicidally depressed clients. Some of them would tell me, I'm not depressed. I want to kill myself. But I'm not depressed. Because depression for them, growing up in their family, meant that if you feel depressed, you're crazy. Only crazy people get depressed, is what they were taught as children, which is horseshit. All of us get depressed at one time or another. Every single one of us. It's a natural, normal human emotion. Okay, but we feared it for many years because it's painful. It doesn't feel good in the body. So we try and talk ourselves out of it, or we shame and guilt ourselves for feeling it because, after all, it's an evil, bad, wrong emotion we shouldn't be feeling because that's how it was treated by our parental units when we were little. Or it was just not even noticed in us and disregarded in us. So real depression, serious depression, ongoing depression is cumulative. We've had it since a very, very young age. And if we get triggered by a pet dying or a close friend deciding not to speak with us anymore or leaving us, well, it brings up depression in us. But if that depression doesn't pass in a number of weeks or months, what it means is we have depression at our baseline. It's always been there. To one degree or another, we've just developed clever coping strategies to deal with it or bury it or circumvent it or bypass it or try and analyze the shit out of it and determine where it comes from and why it's there. But bottom line, it's always been there. People who really are serious about killing themselves because their inner pain is so excruciating don't talk about it. They don't threaten it. Why? Because they don't want anybody foiling their exit plan. They're in so much pain. Maybe they have bipolar disorder, and when they descend into a pocket of depression, it is so excruciating and so heart-wrenching that they just want relief from that pain, and they're willing to do anything to escape it. So the people who are really serious about checking out, cashing in their chips, never talk about it. You don't hear about it from them. They certainly don't threaten you with it. Our beloved comedian, Robin Williams, just checked out one day. One day he's here, the next day he's gone. That's generally how people who are serious about killing themselves, about suicide, manage it. They don't want you foiling their plan. They've had enough suicidal episodes and depressive episodes that they just want out of their pain. They just want out. And unfortunately, nobody's ever helped them with it effectively. Over the years that I've had my consulting business, I never have had somebody kill themselves on my watch. And I've had a lot of suicidally depressed people come my way. A lot of them since I was an intern. One day as an intern, as these people were continuing to walk in my door, I looked up at the sky and said, "Listen, God, what's the deal? I mean, I'm just an intern. I'm just out of school. I was in my mid-40s, early to mid-40s at the time, because I went back to school at 41 to try and legitimize what I've been doing virtually my whole adult life in other venues. And my friends all called me Dr. Schreiber for decades because I was the go-to girl. I was the one that they always called with a medical problem or a relationship problem or with whatever was going on for them, and they wanted some guidance and help. I was the go-to girl. But I looked up at the sky one day as an intern, MFT, marriage and family therapist intern. And I said, "What's the deal, God? Why are you sending me these people?" And God said, "Schreiber, with the kind of life experience you've had and the kind of pain you've lived through, I think you've got this one. I think you can handle this. I think these people can be helped by you." And so I just went about trying to help them in ways I had learned to be helped. I'd help them with self-worth building tools to help them recognize themselves in a more accurate way than they were programmed or conditioned to recognize themselves by as children. I cultivated and developed and invented tools to help them learn how to relieve their own pain. I didn't want them to be dependent on me lifelong or episodically be coming back to me for help. I wanted to teach them how to be their own good parent. I wanted to teach them how to be their own best therapist. I wanted to give them concrete tools to help them heal their own pain and not judge themselves for it and not shame themselves for it and not kill themselves over it. And this has been really my mission in this lifetime. I understand human nature very intimately because I worked really hard at understanding my own. I held my feet to the fire for many years, trying to figure myself out, not analyze myself, but trying to figure out what made me tick and what stopped me from ticking. This has been really, really useful in my practice, enormously useful in my practice. So, that's what I've been up to for a lot of years now. But I'm ascending into my retirement now, happily, joyfully, and being able to share these little secrets with you, these little tidbits of information with you, has made this part of my life journey even more enjoyable and more nourishing for me. I feel my vitality starting to rebuild itself and come back. So thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate your willingness to receive these little gifts that I want to give you, that hopefully will help to redirect your course and bring you light and relief and eventually love. Bond with yourself first. You cannot have a healthy, nourishing attachment to somebody else until you discover and work at building one with yourself. If you don't like you, you're going to settle for other people who don't like you either. So make sure you work on building a healthy, nourishing, friendly bond with you. This is first and foremost. Nothing else is ever this important. Hope you will benefit from this video today. And for now, goodbye.